Today's tutorial is all about the Tesla navigation. There is a lot to get through on this, so let's get right into it. Now, before I get into this too deep, almost all of this information we're going to talk about today can also be found in the manual programmed into every one of your Teslas. All you have to do is go into your menu, go down to service, and tap owner's manual, and you can pull up all of this information. But for those of you who like a visual presentation, let's get through it. First up, let's talk about the navigation settings. There's multiple ways to get to the navigation settings. One way is to tap on your menu, go to navigation, and in here you can go through and adjust everything, starting with you can adjust the volume at the very top. I keep mine muted so I don't hear when turn-by-turn instructions are being said, but you can adjust the volume there. Next down is a toggle switch for automatic navigation. When this toggle switch is on, the car will automatically determine, based upon what your habits have been when you leave and your location, where you're going to be actually ending up at. So if you go to work at the same time every morning, when you get in your car, it'll automatically navigate you to work without you having to do anything. And same thing when you leave work to go home, or if you have a calendar appointments inside of your calendar with the address programmed into the event. If you get in your car within 2 hours of that event, it'll automatically navigate you to that as well. Next down is Trip Planner. This is where it adds supercharger stops if necessary. So if you're going on a long trip and you're not going to make it there on the current charge in your vehicle, it will automatically route you to a supercharger so you can make it there. Next is online routing. If this is toggled on, this is where it will keep checking to see if there's a better route for you to get to your destination, and you can change the settings down below for when it should reroute you. So for example, mine says that if it can save me over 5 minutes, then go ahead and reroute me, or give me the option, tell me about it. You have toggle switches below to avoid ferries, tolls, and to use HOV lanes. Now, one of the reasons why you might want to have automatic navigation to your work or home is if you're a part of the full self-drive beta, or you have advanced autopilot and you use things like navigate on autopilot, you need to have the destination keyed into your car and the car navigating to it so the car knows where it's supposed to turn for you and when to take on ramps, exit ramps, and merge. Now let's talk about the search menu. On the very top, you have the search menu here. When you tap on it, you're going to have a little menu that pops up. On that menu, you're going to have your home and work. Now, if you haven't programmed your home and work into these, all you have to do is tap on them and a box will pop up where you can type in your address, and then it will be saved there. So in the future, it'll just look like mine where it says home or work. That's because those locations are already programmed in, and if I were to tap on those, it would just take me there. Another way for it to take me there is if you just simply click on it and drag down, or click on it and drag to the right, it'll also automatically navigate you to those locations. You would just simply drag and let go, and it's going to automatically navigate me there. Underneath the home and work button, you have your recents. So these are all going to be the ones you've recently typed in or navigated to. These cannot be deleted. They're just constantly replaced, and you can see that they're put in by day and eventually by month. Next, you have favorites, and the way you create a favorite is anytime you're at a location or you've typed one in, basically when it's pulled up on the map, what you can do, and I'll just show you here as an example, if I press and hold, it'll create a pop-up here on the map. If you tap on that little star there, what it's going to do is going to pop up a little box. And on that box, you can rename what that favorite location is actually going to be, and then you would simply click add to favorites. Now that'll be starred, and when you come back here to navigation, you see that on there. Now you can of course have a name for it, such as like favorite park, friend's house, gym, whatever it happens to be, and they'll all be there. And to delete your favorites, you just swipe to the right. After that, you have charging. This is going to pull up a list of all the superchargers in the area. Followed by hungry. This is going to give you a list of different restaurants you can go to. And lucky, which to be honest, I don't really know what that is. It appears to be just a random different things you can go and do in the area. Now, one important note to remember here when it comes to entering into an address into the search bar is if you have a data connection to your car, then you can tell it to go to certain locations like landmarks in cities. But if you don't have any data connection to your car, you can still get there, but you have to type in the exact address so it can actually plan it without the data. Now, in some places around the world, you do actually get alternate routes that you can pick from. Typically, you would get 3. But where I am located, you do not get that. So if I were to click on something and hit go, it's just going to calculate the fastest route for me and just simply send me on my way. So when you type in something or you begin a navigation, what first comes up is all of these step-by-steps for the navigation. All the turn-by-turn list will all come here. At the bottom of the list, what you're going to see is the address and what percentage of your battery is going to be left when you get there. And below that, it'll show you what the round trip would be if you were to come back to your where you left from. Below at the bottom here, you're going to have a little box that shows what battery percentage you're going to get there at, what time you're going to get there, how many minutes it's going to take, and the total miles you're going to drive there. But now let's talk about something called waypoints, because this is really, really key. Now, if I wanted to add a destination on my route, maybe I want to, go get a meal or go stop by a friend's house, you can add something called waypoints once you've entered in the destination that you're trying to get to. So you can't do this until you're already navigating, but once you have a destination in, you can. So if I were to go into these 3 dots down here, you can see there's add a stop, edit trip, and settings. So settings goes back to where we already were, so if you wanted to get back to there, you could do that there, or you can come in here and click add stop. You can go to your home, work, it just brings up that normal spot there. Maybe I want to add this to our stop. What it's going to do then, it's going to add that, and it's going to map it out. You can actually see it. It's really cool. So you can see here that we have our first stop, which just happens to be right down the road from where I am right now. So first it would navigate me there, then it would then take me to the next stop afterwards. And sometimes it will ask you, are you ready to navigate to the next one? Like maybe you get out of your car and then got back in. It'll ask you for that. Sometimes it'll just straight navigate you right to it if you continue driving. To edit those, you can come in here and go edit trip, and you can actually take these 2 lines to the left, press and hold, and you can actually rearrange those, so you can drag them all around, or you can hit the X and completely remove them. Then when you're done, hit done. You can also just simply add a new destination right there as well. So you can do a lot of changing right within this menu, and then when you're done, just hit done. And to cancel your trip, just hit end trip. Now, if you don't want to use the search menu up here, what you can do is you can actually send it straight from your phone itself. So all you have to do is be logged in your Tesla app, then go to a destination. For example, we're gonna go camping at this beach resort here pretty soon. And so if I wanna, navigate there, I would just tap the little arrow right here. And then you see the Tesla sign. All I would have to do then is tap that and then watch what happens on the screen. It's gonna go and navigate straight to it. But here's something to remember. We have 2 different Teslas. So if I had, say, my other car selected, the Model Y, and then I went and did that on my app, even if I'm sitting in my Model 3, it would not go and send it to my Model 3, it would send it to the Model Y. So if you're wondering why, if you have 2 different vehicles on your account, it's not being sent to your car, it's because when you open your app, you're looking at this one. So you just simply need to swipe over, and now it's at your car. Now when you go to share it, it'll share it to the right car. Now, using the screen is very similar to using your iPhone or tablet. You move it around with your finger, you pinch to zoom, and when you tap on it, different settings are going to appear and disappear. So the top one here, if we tap on that, it's going to put it into satellite view. This is really handy for finding landmarks and just kind of seeing what's all around you. You do have to have the data plan that you pay for each month in order to have access to this. Underneath of this is going to display or hide traffic. Below that is going to take away or display points of interest. Things like trail parking lots and hospitals and happy guns and churches and all that. And the last button there is going to display all the different superchargers in the area. Now, I showed you this a little bit before, but you can actually put a pin drop anywhere you want it. So let's say I wanted to navigate to this area over here. If I press and hold, it's going to put a pin right there. I can then go and navigate to it by tapping that big button with an arrow on it, or I can save it to favorites. It'll also tell me where the location is. Now, if I want to get to a specific point of interest, like this Nash's Hay, I could click on it. It's going to pull up some reviews, tell me their hours, and I can also navigate to it. Other ones like this Gem Club, it allow you to call them, give you an address, again, tell you the hours. So the different ones have different options based upon what's been uploaded. For example, the Yellow Beak Saloon here has reviews, it has hours, address, phone number, and website. So I could tap on that and it will open up their actual website where you can make reservations, check the menu, or whatever else you might want. Again, you must have data to do this. So now let's display chargers on here. And I know earlier I said superchargers, but when you tap that, it's going to display any charger that you have set to display on here. So let's talk about this menu that popped up on the side here, this list of all of them. So on here you have 3 different charger options. So the different lightning bolts display what your search is going to show you, what power. So 1 lightning bolt means it's going to show you destination chargers that are up to 25 kilowatts. 2, if we select that, it's going to show us everything from 1 bolt, but also chargers that have between 25 to 75 kilowatt. And if we click on the 3, this is where the superchargers are going to come into play. That's going to be anything over 75 kilowatts. So if we only want to display superchargers, we can uncheck the other 2 or untap it, and now we have the superchargers there. Now, when you look at this, you see a bunch of different things on here. You see numbers, and you see that they're red, and this all actually means something. So if we go to this one right here and we click on the 8, for example, what it's going to do is it's going to pull up a lot of information for us. It's going to tell us how many stalls are available, which, by the way, the 7 that you're seeing on the actual pin dot itself represents the amount of stalls available. So you don't have to actually click on it to see it. You can see the max kilowatt charge that it has there. So you can see this does not offer 250 kilowatt charging. And you can see the peak hours that is being charged there. So for example, right now, it's being charged at 30 cents per kilowatt hour. You can navigate to it, and you can also see what's around the area, such as things to do, coffee, entertainment, and so on. Now, if you do need to go to supercharger, it's very important that you do tap on the navigation here so your car knows it's going there, because what it's going to do is it's going to precondition your battery so that when you get there, it's going to charge a lot faster because it's going to be at the correct temperature for charging. Now, it's possible that when you pull up this list, you're going to see different things than a red with a number in it. Instead, you may see some other things that you might not know what they are. So let me talk about what those could be. If you see a clock on the pin dot, that means that there is a high volume of users and you may need to wait. If you see a wrench, it means that the charger is operating at reduced capacity. If you see a circle with a line through it, the location is closed. If you have just a lightning bolt with no number, that means there's just simply no data being showed for it, but it should be operational. And if you have just a dot and it looks sort of gray, that means that it is not a supercharger, but instead a destination charger or third-party charger. One thing that's really nice about the navigation as well is that they have real-time updates. So if you have the data plan and you put in a destination somewhere and you say, navigate me here, it's going to show you the traffic and factor in the traffic in routing you to that destination. But if you don't pay for the plan, it's still going to factor in the traffic data. It's just not going to display it like this. You can also use voice commands to control your navigation, which actually works pretty well if you have a decent connection. You just press the right scroll wheel, let go, talk, and wait. Take me to the nearest Safeway. Just like that, it's going to show you a list of Safeways, and you can select the one you want to go to. So there's a lot of different things you can say to the navigation. Here's a list of some of them. For destination related questions, you can say things such as navigate to a specific address, find the nearest restaurant, gas station, or hotel. You can say I'm feeling hungry, in which case it'll bring up a list of restaurants in the area. For routing instructions, you can say things like, how do I get to a specific destination, or what's the best route to a specific destination? When it comes to trip planning questions, you can ask stuff such as, how long will it take to get to a destination? Find charging stations along my route. For traffic information questions, you can ask things like, are there any accidents or road closures ahead? What this will do is turn on traffic visuals if you have that option. Basically, you can just say that a bunch of different things that get you to the same place. They all sort of do the same thing, bring up a list of the area and different restaurants or Safeways that you could go to, and then you just pick the list. And it's important to point out that this all, of course, works with autopilot. So when you put something in here, like I mentioned before, it's going to simply follow that. The car is going to read the next turn. If you have full self-drive and you're part of the actual beta program, it's going to go ahead and navigate you in and all around different cities, which is absolutely fantastic. If you have just navigated autopilot or enhanced autopilot, then it won't do anything for you in the cities, but what it will do is take on-ramps and exit ramps for you. It'll merge for you, swerve around other vehicles for you, that sort of thing, but it's going to do that based upon where it knows that it's going. For example, it's not going to get into the fast lane when you're supposed to be taking an exit. And to wrap this up, there's just a few things to point out here. Let's say that you're navigating somewhere. Maybe we're going to go to this destination over here. However, we want to actually have our, music up or something. Maybe we got, our display up. What's going to happen then is if I put the car into drive, you can see that up on the top left here, it's going to display the next direction or turn I have to be on. So maybe if you want to have, your streaming setup all up here, you don't want to have, the navigation showing up. You can still see your next turn, but when you pull that down, it'll disappear and bump back over there. Same thing with calendar or anything else you're going to pull up, it's going to automatically put it over there. Also, if you put an event into your calendar and your calendar is synced with your car, and you put the address into the event, you can just simply pull up the calendar and tap the little navigation arrow next to that address, and it will then route you to that spot as well. And since I already have a destination into the car, you can simply click add, and it's going to add me into that destination, which again, I can come in here to the settings, go to edit trip, and I can change around the order of those different ones I want to go to. Also, if you find yourself lost, you're somewhere over here and you don't know where you are, all you have to do is come up here to the top right and tap on that little arrow, and it's going to switch you back to where you're actually located. You have different options here. You have the heads up display, which is always going to keep you heading up the screen, and the map will turn around you. If you tap it again, it'll put it onto north up always, so the map will always stay, north being north. And if you tap it again, if you happen to be, driving with a navigation in, for example, then it will pull up the actual turn-by-turn directions. So you have the ability to navigate through that. And I've had some people tell me before, like, I don't know where are my options? I'm lost. Where are my options at? Again, tap on the screen. It's going to pull them up. Tap on the navigation, it's going to put you back to where you are. Now that pretty much wraps up the majority of this, so let me know if you guys have any other questions on this. And of course, if you appreciate tutorials like this, do me a favor and hit the like button for me and leave me a comment down below. Also, if you have a suggestion for another tutorial video, please drop that down in the comments as well. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.